When the regiment reached the bottom of Borlon Heights and rose back up a second, ever so slight crest just beyond it, they finally laid eyes on the concealed Marcouing line. It was made up of a wide river of rusted barbed wire stretching across their front as far as the eye could see. Milton Gregg himself records in his diary that it seemed as though the Germans let everything loose in the twinkle of an eye, with the air reeking of metal. It would have been impossible for a man to stand upright and live. So Gregg did the only thing he could. He ordered D Company to take cover in whatever holes they could find, while he went forward alone, to take the risk alone to find some way through the obstacle. After much time ducking and covering and running around, he found a cleared German path that their parties, that they had left open for their work parties, their patrols, and that 50-man outpost garrison, so that they could get back and forth across this vast belt of wire. Gregg set off with a revolver and a bag of grenades, dashing and crawling through the gap until he made it unscathed into a shallow German communications trench between two German machine gun strongpoints. He turned to watch backwards in horror as the first 4 or 5 men following behind him were struck down, one by one by one by one. The last was an NCO who made it inside the communications trench alongside him with a bullet straight through his knee. The injured NCO insisted that he was still capable of covering the trench line northward or left down the trench with his rifle, while Gregg turned south alone down the connecting trench and stepped into the first strong point. He shot the 2 German machine gunners inside it with his revolver at close range before they could grab their rifles, and then accepted the surrender of 18 others sheltered in a dugout beneath it. Afterwards, he dashed back to the wire gap, and by then, Roy Duplessis had directed 2 more Royals, just 2 more, doubling the size of the assault force. And this 4-man force, laden with bags full of grenades, as many as they could carry, bashed on southwards, clearing out the chain of 7 German machine gun strongpoints in their company sector. By the time they reached the last one, 3 German officers and 45 men had surrendered to them, not to mention the number they had killed. Milton describes what happens next best himself. He wrote, "We sat tight until the bunch of Germans got to about 20 yards in front of us, and then we threw bombs for all we were worth. Those Germans not killed or wounded in the grenade volley turned and ran out of throwing range." Duplessis was a wonderful boy. He suddenly exclaimed, "I know all about German machine guns, sir." And there were plenty of them around, so he picked one up, got it up on the top, and began firing. Duplessis doing all the work, and I, with my tin hat touching his, feeding in the belt. It was effective shooting, and there was no want of targets. But suddenly I heard a terrible crash in my ear, and looking round, I saw Duplessis' tin hat spinning through the air with a large hole in his back. He was hit through the face and just sighed as he went out.